Hello! And welcome to our... Wait, something's echoing. Who is it?
It's you.
I don't hear an echo.
Maybe it's Kurt.
It's me. Oh, I'll be BRB.
Okay.
Oh no, she got taken. She had her call.
Oh no!
Kat, are you gonna do it again?
Should we start counting down? So welcome to our The Call live show, Booksplosion live show, The Call by Peter O'Gillen. This month we're working with Scholastic. The Call was cray. And if you haven't read it and you're here, like, I recommend reading it if you want like a cray thrill ride, because holy shit.
Mary.
So I'm Christine. This is my channel. I was gonna say something else. Oh, okay. We're taking questions live from you guys from Twitter. So we're taking them using the hashtag #TheCallSplosion. Okay, so throw your questions at us. We'll be getting to them. I'm Christine.
I'm Jesse. I'm Jesse.
I'm Kat, and my bottom third disappeared when I did.
Oh no, it was called too.
I was called? Is that what we're going with?
Yeah, you were called. We were counting down, hoping you made it back.
Looks like you made it out fine.
You did.
Yeah.
You're lucky. You're one of the lucky few to survive.
No spoilers yet, I guess. We didn't say that we're going into them yet. There will be spoilers today. We'll tell you our initial thoughts, I guess, before. Do we want to do that? Okay. And we're also just going to quickly, should we announce what we're doing this month or wait till the end?
Let's do the beginning before we get into spoilers.
Okay, so coming up, before we get into the book and spoilers, we just want to remind you guys, we have a panel coming up next Saturday, October 8th at New York Comic Con. Yeah, in the BookCon section of New York Comic Con, and it starts at 6:30, I believe, right guys? 6:30?
So, that sounds right.
Yeah, 6:30. It's called The Evolution of Booktube. Hopefully, if you're going to your Comic Con, we'll meet you there. And who wants to tell them about the other thing we're doing in November?
Yallfest! We're going to be at Yallfest.
You want me to do the details here? So we're going to be at Yallfest November 12th in Charleston, South Carolina, which is a free book festival. It's super fun. And we'll be having a meetup, Q&A, panel sort of ordeal. And hopefully we get to meet some of you guys. And we have new swag.
Don't show them yet. Let's
Okay.
Spoilers?
Just spoil one.
It's not like big swag. You know, it's just like new like bookmarks, except they're bigger.
Oh.
This is just one. We have various.
We went a little bit crazy with the designs. We have
I like them all.
They're like trading cards, but postcards.
Or Pokemon.
Pokemon.
They're
Yeah.
better.
There's like 150 original Pokemon, so like we need to come up with a lot more designs.
Well, we have 4. Where are we?
It's Booksplosion, man.
Anyway, back to the call now. Okay, so if you don't know, the call is about who wants to say, or you want me to say?
You can say.
I'll say.
She explains it better.
So basically, in this world, Ireland has been cut off from the rest of this world by this evil race of fairies, and now, because the humans like banished the fairies a long time ago, the fairies are getting their revenge, and every teenager at some point in their adolescence is called, and they just disappear from the human realm, and they end up in the gray world, which is like this nightmare landscape fairy world.
It's the worst.
It's the worst.
And like they're there for 3 minutes in our world, but they're there for like 24 hours in that world because the time goes different, and it freaking sucks.
The fairies are hunting them, and there's all these sorts of like terrifying creatures hunting them, and they like end up in the world alone and naked in the middle of a field. They have no weapons, no anything.
Okay, Maybe we should just not tell anymore and just go into thoughts, because I forgot we usually don't do this too.
We usually don't talk about what it's about.
Jesse, thoughts.
Wait, I'm going?
Oh, I was just stunned because you haven't spoken as much as we have in the last minute.
Sorry. I will go. Okay, so I really enjoyed this book. I didn't know what to expect going into it because I knew like nothing. I knew that there was a gray area. I knew that there was fairies, and I knew that there was like 3 minutes or something that they're spinning in there, because like literally
3 minutes or something.
on the back, it says a horn sounds, the call has begun.
This is the back of the arc. It has
Well, that's on the inside flap too. It says 3 minutes, 2 minutes, 1 minute.
yeah.
So you really don't know what to expect going into this. And then like once you get into the book and like you learn everything that's going on, you learn how like basically these teenagers are living their lives to learn how to survive the call. I don't know, it's so interesting, and like you have no idea where the story's gonna go. At least I didn't anyways. I was like, I don't know what the outcome's gonna be. And I really liked just like not knowing anything. It was a fun experience. I will say that like I didn't love the writing style. I thought that I was gonna like get used to it at some point.
Oh, I love the writing style.
Love it? Really? That's
great.
I don't know, like obviously I just finished the book today, so I haven't really let it fully sink in. So maybe like I'll end up enjoying it, but like right now I'm like, meh, it was okay. But yeah, that's my thoughts on the call. Okay. Techno dance there. Why am I so awkward, you guys?
Yeah, I really liked the writing too. I thought the writing was great because it was different. Oh, we're not yelling at you, Jesse.
I feel like I always have the unpopular opinion.
No, we like a nice debate.
Yeah.
I'm always on my own team.
The wrong team. No, I thought I really liked it because it was different. Like it did take a little bit of getting used to. But you know, so much of the writing that we encounter, especially in YA, is very like straightforward and similar. And this, possibly because the author is from Ireland, and you know the language is a little bit different from like American English. But I really liked it. I thought it added a nice, unique flavor to it. But aside from the writing, I really liked this whole book. Like it was terrifying and like gave me nightmares and like a racing heart. But it was really good. Like I loved that. Like Jesse said, I didn't know much going into it. I was like, yeah, it's kind of like Hunger Games with the fairies, which is like such a mild way to put it.
Yeah.
Because it's like worse than the Hunger Games, and the fairies,
so much worse.
And the fairies are like the scariest, most terrifying. Like these are not Sarah J. Maas's fae. Okay,
that's what I was thinking too earlier. I was like, this is not no Sarah J. Maas fairy.
These are the fae that we've like grown to love and hate. You know, like it's like Cassandra Clare's fae, except worse. Like
much worse.
oh yeah.
This
Those
is
are bad fairies in the Cassandra Clare series. So
like this is the fae that I know and love. But like I hate fairies. Sarah J. Maas's are weird. Sorry, Pat, did you complete your thoughts?
Yeah, I loved it. It was also really interesting that it's told in a present tense, but like an omniscient point of view.
Yeah,
which is something we don't see a lot in young adult anymore. Like we could see other people's thoughts, and they had a couple lines that were like the little did he know kind of.
Yeah,
it's like he'd get his chance soon enough. It's like, oh crap, what does that mean?
I know, it makes it even scarier in a way. It's like he knows, and it's so foreboding and like horrifying. The whole story was horrifying. I really enjoyed it, like much more than I thought I was going to. It was like I love the writing style. It felt like a film to me. Like it played out like a film. It was like very concise, like a script is. It like reminded me of the Hunger Games in that way, that like it does feel like a script. But this was like
fast paced, like
yeah. Like you just go. Once you start, it's like the first chapter. Okay, spoilers are coming. So I like the book. Kat liked the book. Jesse liked the book. Go read it. Come back.
What did you rate it? Would you rate it on Goodreads, or what would you rate it?
I'd give it 5 stars.
5 stars?
For me, I'd give it a 4.5, but if there's a second book that answers some of my questions, I could like bump that rating up, because like I really enjoyed it. Any issues I have with it are very minor. I feel a bit of like I'm left longing for more.
Rumor has it there is going to be a second book.
Yeah, I hear that might be a thing.
I think there is going to be a second book too.
Yeah.
Like there's so many mysteries that we haven't explored, and like different aspects, you know, since we see from so many different characters, like someone experiences something, and then, you know, they maybe don't survive the call, and no one else ever knows about that thing.
I know, but I do like that. Like, I kind of felt satisfied with the end too. You know, like,
yeah, no, I'm really satisfied. Like,
yeah.
I'm happy with this if it's a standalone, but like, there's so much more that we can explore that like I want to know because it's so interesting. I
like that it was like that. Like, I feel like it's so hard to write this omniscient style like the right way too, and he did such a good job with it. But anyway, what was I saying? Oh yeah, like right off the bat, the first chapter, like that kid disappears and dies, and I was like, shit, they're not playing around. This is crazy. And oh my God, it's just like so much more graphic and disgusting than I ever.
It was so gruesome. I was not expecting that at all.
Like, there's no way this could ever be PG-13. Like,
no. If this was a movie, it would be R, and it would be horrifying.
Yeah, I was talking about like.
I'm surprised that Scholastic publishes this because this just like seems like so different than anything else that they publish.
Not like chill.
Like, they published The Hunger Games, but I don't know.
They did.
I still feel like this is so much worse than The Hunger Games.
This makes The Hunger Games look like a fluffy rom-com.
Yeah.
Rom-com's taken it a little far.
It makes it look like a rom-com.
Exactly, rom-com. like the Hunger Games is tamer. Like, the humans being twisted into like these disgusting animals and shit. And just like seeing them, oh my God, there's just so many moments.
Didn't one of the fairies like wear one of the humans as like a cloak or something?
No, like one guy has like the face, like the lips are his, like the cuffs of his shirt.
Oh,
and like the whole thing is stretched out on his arm.
Oh my God.
Yeah, can you imagine the visual, like actually seeing this on a screen? Like how?
Would they be allowed to make the
right?
I don't know, exactly.
It was such a grim world. Like, a lot of the time we see dystopians that, you know, are a really bleak, like, terrifying world. But this one is, it has kind of a dystopian feel, but I wouldn't really classify it as that because all the, like, remaining people are trying to work together. Like, it's about this group of people surviving because they've been cut off from the rest of the world for 25 years, and every adolescent gets whisked away to the gray world. So they start training these kids when they're 10 years old to survive. And they went from like 1 in 100 used to survive, and now 1 in 10 survives, which is horrifying.
Yeah, like the whole, I also found it like really cool how real it feels. Like, everything feels so believable and so grounded, and it's so hard to do that with like this crazy world you really don't know anything about with such little information. We do know, like, we feel like we're with them on this whole journey. Like, I feel like I went on the call. It was so scary. I can't. Like,
it feels so realistic. Like, if this situation were happening, they would start training the kids very young, and it would be a very like military style, like it's all about survival, and if you survive the call, you're expected to have a bunch of children after that, even knowing what they'll be put through just to like keep surviving as a people. It's horrifying.
Like, imagine if that was just your life, like you were just living your life to like to survive. Like, what kind of life is that? Like, that's awful.
And like all the things they have to do, like they're not even allowed to wear shoes because they have to toughen their feet to the point where like nothing can hurt them, you know? Like,
they don't have to shave their heads because if you have hair, something can grab onto it.
Oh my God. Like, the horror
are preparing for this 24-hour period of them being in a literal like nightmare hellscape.
Yeah, like it's literally like they were just chucked into hell. We have a question here, and I was just about to like touch on this, so I might So Lucy asks, what did you think about the Siddhi, or they're called in the audiobook it's like Shia or something.
Yeah.
It looks nothing like the word, so I always say it wrong.
Because it's like I watched a little video about the pronunciation. It's pronounced like sometimes she, like the end of banshee, but because the author was doing like an older version of that, he uses the older pronunciation, which is like Sheeta.
Okay, Sheeta. Okay, so Lucy says, what did you think of the Sheeta being able to manipulate human bodies so easily? And that was like the most horrifying aspect of them, like the idea, like, don't let them touch you. And it was so scary when someone would be like, they grab my wrist, because it's like, they're done. That's it.
Yeah.
You're dead.
Done.
Holy shit. And the girl who's like, chest has a hole in it.
Oh, a hole in it? Yeah.
Oh my god. Like, everything is just a nightmare. And it was so scary. I was so scared when Anto got, like, when she caught him and she grabbed his wrist and she was like, I'm gonna make you a giant. And then we left and we didn't see him for like 50 years. I was like, no, he has to survive. Oh my god. Anyway, if you guys don't know, if you're just joining us, we are taking questions on Twitter using the hashtag #Booksplosion. But what did I think of them being able to manipulate humans so easily? Like, I think it was like, it's like their art. It's this sick, twisted headspace that they're in where they think it's beautiful. And
it's so twisted. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's so twisted. And I like it goes with what I learned about them. Like, it makes sense because they're like psychotic.
Yeah, like that was the scariest part, is that first of all, when we see them in the gray world and we see that like they're so happy and joyous when they're like doing this, like they're getting killed and they're just like, yeah, this is great. Like, it's terrifying.
Yeah, they don't die. They're like immortal.
Oh. They'll be brought back to life. Like, it's all fun and games for them. And it's like, that makes it all the more horrifying for us.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just terrifying. Like, that's one of the things that like I wanted a little bit more exploration into, is like, they seem so powerful. How did they get banished in the first place? Like,
right.
How did we exert any kind of control over them whatsoever? Like, was it just the treaty? Like, we tricked them into signing it and banished them somehow because they have to, like, their promise is like their word, like they have to do that. Like, how did we exert any kind of control over these like super powerful, terrifying beings?
Yeah, I wonder if they weren't as powerful in the beginning and then they've amassed this power, like they found this cauldron and harnessed its power over these thousands of years in between them being banished. And
maybe.
Yeah, because now they live in that gray world. Maybe they found the source of power that made them so powerful there. I don't know. But yeah, that is a really interesting point. Like, how the hell did we do it? And there's this idea that we went back on our word. Like, so maybe we like betrayed something with them. Like, it kind of is reminiscent of like how we like slaughtered all the Native Americans and kicked them off their own land. And I feel like that's kind of like what's going on, what must have happened to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did we live in peace together before? Like, were they more like the nicer version of this fairy that we're used to, where like it was all that like mischief, but not like this horrifying?
Maybe we like turned their magic against them unknowingly, like tricked them, like you said, like something happened and something with their own agreement, like how they stick to their word and it banished them there. I don't know. Like, I'm sure that they'll have to explore that.
The other interesting thing that I like alluded to a little bit before I got into spoilers was when Megan is in the world and she's talking about joy and like, you know, the sun is shining and there are bees and she's like talking about all these happy things. That is what distresses them. Like, that causes them pain and they're like, stop talking. They're like weeping. So like, how does that play into it? Like, they get so much joy out of killing and then like hearing about how good the world can be makes them sad because they're not a part of it, or does like that joy weaken them somehow?
I wonder if they've gotten to the point where they've kind of trained their psyche to enjoy the one thing that they can enjoy, revenge on their people. And like that reminds them of their human side, maybe a little bit, like of what they used to be.
I like that. I didn't even think about that. That's really interesting.
Because there must have been not as bad back then. You know, I feel like they bred themselves into this like revenge people who
like the people did this to them by banishing them into this world.
Yeah, like now they're like crazed revenge people because they've been stuck in this world regenerating for who knows how long. We have another question here that I think is really interesting from MJ. She says, if you could make one moment of your lives a window, which would you choose?
Oh.
This is like, there's like probably a lot of moments. It's hard to choose.
Hard.
Do you guys have like a moment?
It'd probably be like a Christmas or something when I was a little kid, and it's just like pure joy and presents and happiness and like no adult worries.
Yeah, sometime when you're youngin' and have like, maybe like a nice family moment. That'd be
I would say like some kind of family event of some sort, definitely.
Yeah, maybe like a family Christmas party, like when you're all opening presents and stuff. Yeah. That's a good visual.
I know, I'm like thinking about it, like, yeah, that's good. Those are the good times.
Yeah. Like coming down the steps with like my siblings and seeing the presents under the tree. That's
the magic of Christmas, like waking up and just like excitement as soon as you wake up.
Yeah, that's such a happy painting. Let's see. Thoughts on Connor's obsession with Nessa. This is from Emma. At Emma CRTN. Because I liked him at one point and then he turned out to be crazy. Yeah, there was a point where he could go one way or the other, and then it was like, oh, he's going the other. Like,
yeah.
Did you guys initially like him?
It was kind of the same. It wasn't that I liked him at first, but I didn't think he was going to be the villain that he was. Like, I thought he had enough in the villain department. Because like, you know, he was the bully, he was like the proud bully, and like he was rallying his like special group together and like encouraging them, telling them to like believe and stuff, like we're all gonna survive. And you know, even though he was kind of a dick then, like he really went like full villain mode at the end.
Yeah, I mean, like, I feel like he's the type of character, he's an interesting antagonist, because I feel like he is the type of character that could have really redeemed himself in a way, but he didn't. Like some of his did, like Chuck Waba or whatever his name is. Remember when he died for Anto, and even though he said he wouldn't, that was a nice moment. Like even though it was a horrifying moment, it was a nice moment. Like
run, friend, and then like
when they're like twisting him into like an animal, he's like, bruh. Oh my god, the audiobook in that moment, like the voice was like, bruh. I was like, oh my god.
That is horrifying. I know, but the thing is, like, I'm not excusing anything that Connor did, because like obviously he did some very inexcusable things, but again, like he's raised in this horrifying, bleak world, and you know he's obviously having trouble dealing with like his feelings, which is not something that his teachers and counselors and anyone is like giving special attention to. Like they aren't caring as much about the psychological side of things. They just want like survival. But yeah, I don't know. I felt like there was a point where like he maybe could have been redeemed, but then no.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Another question we have here, Wicked West Books asks, which one of you would survive your call? And like at this moment, none of us would survive a call. Like we'd have to be raised like them.
So we're past our teen years, so we're fine, right?
Yeah.
The thing is though, that if you've noticed, the people who survived the call, most of them, it seems, if not all of them, I don't know, we don't get to see like every single testimony, but they all talk to the Sheeta and like work out some kind of deal.
Yeah.
But like it's horrifying because the deal is like betraying their own people.
Not always. Like if you can trick them into like what it does at the end.
Yes, it does. Yeah.
But that's 'cause they need her. And like I guess Anto survived and he just because they caught him so late. Like he survived for so long.
Yeah, like the thing is you have to get to the point where you could talk to them. Because in the beginning they're just attacking and you could die right then and there.
And Megan was almost close to surviving too because
poor
like,
Megan. Do you think that animal was Chuckwawa? Chuckwa?
well, what makes you think that?
Because he was like aware of his surroundings. But he left, I forget what his message was.
The message was something that was like back in the past. So
Yeah, that was interesting. Maybe that'll play in book 2 or something.
Yeah, that was another like mystery that was like left.
Yeah, because at first that's who I thought it was. I was like, oh, Chuckwawa is going to help another person.
Good old Chuck Wawa.
That's one thing. If they like twist you enough, can they keep you? Like, what counts as killing you? Like, do you have to be returned after those 24 hours?
Yeah. Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah, I feel like you're all returned. The people who are twisted and still there, I feel like they're all the people that got taken because they tried to escape the country.
Yeah.
They were an old person or a newborn baby.
Which that was also terrifying.
Yep. The whole like city went, the whole like, what about that city like shrinking thing? You know, like their world is tiny. That kind of like was a whoa sort of moment because it appears that like you shrink as you go into their world and their world is not as big as you might think it is.
Yeah. But like you end up exactly where you were. Like, yeah, how the worlds line up is really interesting.
Yeah. The exactly where you were thing is kind of scary. Like when she was on the second floor of that burning building and she was going to come back, like, did she drop? Is it like in Ruby Red where like wherever you are? And if it's a second floor and that second floor doesn't exist, you fall.
That's kind of what it seemed like with that first scene on the bus where like it disappeared on the bus and she's like, we have to reverse to exactly where we were because we're here. Just in the middle of the road.
I felt so bad for that kid. He lasted a long time too. He wasn't very mutilated. He had like ear horns and that's it.
Yeah.
Not that that's like not a big thing. But it
honestly.
Like back to the whole like bargaining thing, like because the fairy think that they're like making you beautiful and it's an art thing, like can you convince them to like twist you in a certain way?
Right.
Well, going into book 2, like Nessa is gonna have like kind of powers. Like she can
Yeah. And so does Anto. Like even though he has like this like horrible huge disfigured arm, like it's super strong. Yeah.
So it's interesting. Like they are so powerful. Like they so easily can manipulate you. Let's see the call here. Have you guys ever been to, this is from Proud Book Lion. Have you guys ever been to Ireland and would you want to visit and risk being trapped? I want to visit so bad. I really want to go to Ireland.
I would love to go to Ireland as long as I didn't have to deal with the call.
Yeah, I'm like under the impression that
we're past our adolescence. Like we
are.
Oh, that's true.
We don't want to get. I don't want to be trapped in Ireland. No offense.
They're cut off from the internet, so.
But I do want to visit.
Love to go. My family is from Ireland.
Yeah, I have some Ireland in me too.
I don't know if I have Ireland in me.
I'm like a quarter Irish.
Quarter Irish?
Quarter. Or like a little less, like a 6th. Let's see. Well, Abby asked, who was your favorite character? Who was your guys' favorite character?
Probably Anto.
Yeah, I love him.
Although I liked Nessa too. Like, she wasn't like a likable, fun character, but her like motivation, her drive to survive, even though like against the odds of just if she weren't disabled, and then on top of that, she has, you know, her legs from getting polio when she was little. Like, she has a physical disability, and she still is one of the few to survive, and she like not gonna let the odds stop her at all.
She's a very admirable character. Like, she never gives up, and it's really fun to root for her.
So much respect for her.
Mad respect, yo.
Also respect for Anto, who like he trains with them and he like wants to survive, but he's not willing to like even dip into the cruelty like some of them do. Like, he's a vegetarian. Like, he won't even eat meat.
That's why you like him. I'm kidding.
Let's see.
I have a good question.
Go ahead.
Do you think you would have perceived the book differently if you didn't listen to the audiobook?
I mean, I listened and I read. Like, I read the first half myself, and then I listened to the audiobook, and like I was reading along with it this morning. So I don't think so. Like, I think I got the full every angle of the book. What about you guys?
Did they have Irish accents?
They did. She had an Irish accent. I can't do it. I don't know why I'm trying.
Yeah, I can't even.
I like that. I think that like that would have added a nice like atmospheric.
I did like that. Like, I liked hearing Megan's accent because she's so sassy with it, and it's fun. Yeah.
I couldn't do it in my head. Like, I imagined like they all had Irish accents.
Some of them were American, like some of the teachers. And it was interesting to see how it changed. Like, the actress was really good. She did like all the and like the dying voices and everything was crazy.
Sounds scary.
It was, but it was good. Yeah, I think that added like a whole nother kind of dimension to it with the accents, because you really got a feel for like where they were and stuff.
Yeah, I feel like that like would fully immerse you into the story too.
I feel like the audiobook would only enrich it. Like, I don't think you would lose anything with this by going to the audiobook because of like the narration. Like, it's very cinematic, since it is like an omniscient, like a distanced point of view. Yeah, I feel like the audiobook would just make it even better.
Yeah, I found that like my favorite way actually to read this was with the audiobook and me reading it at the same time, because you know when you're reading an audiobook sometimes you miss like words, but I wanted to see all the words because it is so concise. So like reading and listening was really nice.
I have another question here. What do you think I don't know how to say the word for fairies in this book. How do you say it again? Shada.
Peader, like the banshee and
like sheet. Like,
okay, what do you think the Shida eat?
They eat everything. I feel like they eat humans.
I know. I feel like they do eat humans. Like, it wouldn't surprise me at all.
Yeah, I feel like.
Think about that. What do they eat?
I feel like they don't need to eat because they're immortal beings. But I feel like they eat humans. They'll eat you if they want to.
That's terrifying. Everything about them is terrifying. Like, they defy the laws of like physics and stuff. Like, making Minto's arm bigger, like that defies the laws of like mass. You can't create mass. You can only like move mass around. Like, where did that come from? What is his arm made of? Like,
they can just, they're like gods. That's
basically that's what they are.
Yeah.
They're really, really pissed off at these people, which is so stupid.
Yeah. Luis Enrique Benito asks, what was the most shocking part of the book for you guys? And do you guys have one moment that you were just like, duh? I definitely had like 5 moments like that. It just like kept getting worse.
Yeah.
What were your 5 moments?
Well, like the first one was, like I said, on the bus, because I was just like, this is real. This is great. But the next one I think was like the first time we saw the call, like that first girl. It was so scary. I was reading that in the shower and I had gotten to like my end of a chapter. I usually only read a chapter, but I was like, I need to keep reading this because, like, what is this? What's happening?
Because you don't expect it to go as dark as it does.
Yeah.
It's so brutal. And it's just
Well, the
like,
fact that like we see so many calls
yeah.
and we see how they all end poorly.
Yeah. Oh my God. And when Anto was called, that was another moment where I was like, no.
Yeah.
No.
Well, when those three were all called at once, and it was like
Yeah.
Emma appeared right in like the middle of like a tribunal of fairies, and like immediately they start like that description of like putting the fingers in her skin like it was soft cheese. I was just like,
Oh my God. I know. Oh my God.
That description. That description.
Oh my God. I know. That like stuck with me so hard. I was like,
Oh. Where do you think he got like the inspiration for this story?
I don't know. Goes for it. Like with everything. He's just like, yeah, whatever. We're doing it. It's disgusting.
and like just the descriptions of like some of these creatures too, like the spiders that were like a human head with
That
like
was another moment where like, because we had heard about the monsters, but we hadn't heard the detail that they're all made of humans. And it was just like, I'm like, oh my God, I thought there was like cabbage patches of heads. Like there was just like farms full of heads. And it's just like, ew.
Yeah.
I wonder if some of the people who like get trapped in Ireland are not only people who are trying to escape, but people who are trying to get in to the country. Like if they're like, oh, we need to go get into Ireland and save them, and they send like planes into Ireland who like aren't trying to escape.
Yeah, that's interesting.
What is the rest of the world?
What's the rest of the world doing? Yeah, that's an interesting point. Like, has Ireland dropped kind of off the face of the earth, or like, is it there? We just can't get to it. This is an interesting question. At Piano Freak, Nyan says, "Would you rather be be like called for the Hunger Games or called?" And
Hunger Games.
The Hunger Games.
I'm not going to the call. I have a better chance of surviving the Hunger Games. Like, not doing the call.
I feel like if any one character who had been trained for the call ended up in the Hunger Games, they would just destroy.
Oh my God, they would do so well. Yeah, like the thing is, the pro, and this is like not a big pro, but the pro in the call is like, you know, you're done in 24 hours. You're gonna either be dead or done. The Hunger Games can be stretched out for a long time, and you can be like on the verge of dying at any moment for that whole time.
Also, another pro of the call is that
Guys, there's no pros.
you get to train from when you're 10 years old. You know it's coming. You know it's going to happen no matter what. It's not like careers who train and maybe they'll get picked or they'll volunteer. Like, no, everyone's going. Everyone has to do this.
Yeah. The same, you know, it's surprising that like not more people in the Hunger Games kind of train as children just in case that happens, you know?
Like just in case. Like,
yeah. Yeah, because I think I'd like, you know, you just want to be athletic just in case. Like,
yeah.
Because like Prim doesn't do anything. She's like a little girl just with her goats. Like, go for a run every once in a while, girl.
Girl push-ups. Work out with Katniss. Like that's the thing is, I know Katniss like wants to protect her and stuff, but she doesn't like really train Prim at all. Like, if Katniss ends up dying in the woods, or if she got in the Hunger Games, whatever, like her family would be screwed.
Yeah.
You never know. You could have found some goats in the Hunger Games. They would have been prepared.
Prepared to make some cheese.
Hey, she could live off that cheese, okay?
I think she could figure out how to milk it, even if she hadn't milked it before. I think we'd end up killing the goat and eating it. Let's see. Did you sleep well during the time you read this book? Because I didn't.
No, I read this book in one sitting because like I made the mistake of picking it up like in the middle of my day, which is at nighttime because I have a really weird sleep schedule. But so I read through it in one sitting, and then I was just like, I can't do anything else right now. Like it's not that I was scared. I was just like kind of rattled from it.
Yeah.
You
just want to know what happens.
Yeah. Like I got really invested.
Yeah. Charles Explosion says, what would be the worst time for you to be called? So like us personally, like, I feel
plane. Oh.
or I feel like, yeah, on a plane would be horrible.
Oh my god.
You survive.
I didn't think about that.
You would just fall from the sky.
So you die either way. You die if you go to the call, and if you die if you
Oh my god. Well, you wouldn't go if this was happening. Like, we wouldn't travel by plane.
Yeah. No way.
That would be a bad. Even like it being on a ship or something. Like, stop the ship.
We're like in the middle of surgery or something.
Oh my god. Let's not. Oh my god. That's horrifying. Oh my god.
The worst time to be called, I don't know, it'd probably just be like at the end of the day when I'm like tired and I'm about to pass out, and then I'm called like.
I feel like even in the morning, like before you eat, would be kind of a bad time to be called.
That's the whole concept of being in the cage. Like, I know they have to like have.
Oh my god, it's like the Chokey in Matilda. I was like, why?
They have to have like some form of punishment for the kids, or else the kids could like have free reign to like misbehave. Imagine being called after you've been in the cage without food or anything for like 2 days. Like.
Yeah, like what kind of punishment is that? Can we just do like the traditional detention? I guess they're trying to like
laps or something.
Yeah, like I guess they're trying to like train them to like be able to go hungry or something, like know what it's like. But I think, yeah, like why can't they just?
They don't want you to like misbehave and like do anything against the rules, because doing that literally endangers your life.
Yeah, so it has to be drastic.
You know that you're put in the cage, and you know that if you happen to be called, then you're screwed.
Yeah. I mean, it is a good like motivational. Don't do
not be bad, yeah, or not be caught.
Yeah, it was really interesting how like they're very much like okay with kind of people beating people up as long as it's not like a fatal injury, which is like
anything permanent. Like if you have like a broken arm or something like.
Yeah, I just all of that like violent stuff was just like horrifying, because they could be called like when they almost broke Nessa's arms. I was just like, no, so I was like, you can't just stop, like, because then she literally has no chance. It was just, it was horrible. I hate that kid. I hate him. Let's see. Would you mind being called during this live show? Yes, I would mind being called anytime. Don't call me.
Don't call me at all.
Yeah. Abby says, what would your tactic for survival be? Like, mine would just be like run and find a hiding place.
I just imagine one of us getting the call during this live show and the other two just being here and be like, oh crap, it's going down. Like,
oh my god, it's scary. It's like a nightmare.
I would be so sad. I would be like, oh no.
You basically just saw your friend die. Like
it's like you didn't even get to say
us in our current states. Like we're not surviving.
Sorry, what was the question? I just interrupted.
I can't even like walk on pavement with bare feet. Like
I know it hurts so bad. My delicate foot scan.
No, my strategy would totally be to try to strike a bargain.
Well, but you have to hide until they're desperate enough to strike it.
Right.
Maybe. Because they don't want to just strike a bar. They want to play with you. And then when you have, like, no time left, you have to, like, get them to strike it. Because what are you going to give them in return?
Yeah, I would try to run and hide, but upon being caught and, like, talking to them, I would try to strike a bargain. Like, hey, you guys want to come back to the world? Like, what can I do to help you out there?
Like, because most of the time, all they, like, before you're even caught, like, they just find you and they're like, you know, like, with their steaming, horrifying powers.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't even, they have to be, like, in a good mood.
Are they ever in a good mood, though?
When they're killing. The thing is, like, with Connor, like, they were loving that he was killing them all. They're like, yeah, you're a warrior. Yeah, they're like cheering him on. I guess he's slaughtering everyone. Like that was great time for everyone involved.
I was so disturbed by that. I was like, stop enjoying this. He's like, I could do this all day. I don't even want to go home.
But like, I feel like if he hadn't like struck a bargain and been sent home, like he could have just done that the whole time and maybe survived, because like they were having fun. He was having fun.
Oh my God, I forgot that you were called naked. Wicked West Books was like, don't forget you're called naked. Like, that is like just hard. You're not protected anywhere. You're just so easily.
Wait, when you return, are you naked too? I can't remember.
Yeah, you're naked when you return. Yeah.
No.
Your clothes were, so
It's like second nature. Like they don't even care I'm not naked.
yeah, no, it doesn't even matter anymore. Like you return from the call having survived. Like clothes are the last thing on your mind.
Like he was just.
Last thing on your mind.
Oh my God, this is another reason the movie. Like how the F did we even do this? Everyone is naked always. Like literally, Connor is just clothed in blood. He just is like painted red.
Yeah, no, this couldn't be a movie.
Yeah, I feel like there's just no way that they'd be able to make this
That's why
movie.
I feel like
Without changing things, obviously.
like this worked out so well because it is told in such a cinematic way, but at least by our like standards for film and stuff, like this couldn't be a movie.
Sabrina Reader says at A Bookish Teen, if you are called with another person, would you betray them so that you could survive? And I think that would be really hard, but it would depend, I think, definitely on the person.
Yeah. I mean, if I was saying Connor, I'd be like, yeah, of
No.
course.
I see someone that says, "Kat, you traitor," and I want to clarify, like, I wouldn't betray like my friends or like my people. I would try to strike some kind of bargain with them to help them in a different way. Like I wouldn't do what Connor and the girl with their hole in her chest and everyone else did. I wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
See, Abby says, if you saw another person in the call, would you try to help them? And the thing is, a lot of times that's a trap. Like that one person, I forget who it was called, and there was a fake person.
I think that couldn't that be like pretty easily solved by speaking English, because the Sheeta don't speak English.
But how do we know they still don't speak English? They have.
Ask them what college they're from. Ask them. You know, there's real world.
I just feel like in the moment you're just like, it's go, it's do it or die, you know, or run.
Like I probably, to be honest, I probably wouldn't do what Anto did and like go out of my way to save someone. But like if it was working out, like working together would be, I would definitely do that.
Yeah, I mean, like if it was my friend, I couldn't like run away. I'd have to go save them. But like if it was like a person that I knew was like, would it help me? It would be easier to be like, okay, I shouldn't go do that. But like I wouldn't be able to like sit and interview the person who was like a trap.
Let me just take a moment here and talk to you.
Who's your favorite teacher? Yes.
Have you listened to Hamilton?
What's your favorite Hamilton character, though? Because mine's Angelica, and if we're both Angelica, it's like, this is a match. Do you think Harry Potter would survive the call? Says at Piano Freak 9. I think he could if he has wand, like for sure.
You go with nothing. You have like that's why Nessa couldn't even train with crutches, because you bring literally nothing with you.
Well, if not, then no. I mean, he's so dependent on magic. Like, I don't think a lot of people wouldn't survive the call if they have some other form of help with them in their own books. Like, even Katniss, like, she doesn't have a bow. She can't make one in 5 seconds. Like, she's not trained for that.
Yeah, I feel like Katniss could potentially survive if the circumstances were right. Like, you have to be lucky. She'd have to, like, end up somewhere where no one else was around, be able to make a bow, maybe
but, like,
make some kind of weapon. Like,
Nessa couldn't even make the crutches. Like, she couldn't do that, and she trains every day doing it.
Yeah.
Like, a bow's got to take a little more artmanship. Like, you got to...
arrows and stuff, yeah. No, it wouldn't work.
Yeah, it wouldn't work. You'd have to be trained like with rocks and shit like they are.
Yeah.
Gosh, how would the rest of the world have reacted to the disappearance of Ireland, says, wow, Iona? Is it Iona? I don't want to say your name wrong. McDonough. I don't know. That would be horrifying. I think the rest of the world would be like, oh my God, are we next?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Like, that's another aspect that we see nothing of. Like, we're completely cut off from the rest of the world. We don't know if Ireland shows up on GPS. Is Ireland there?
Yeah.
Are people trying to get in? Are they trying to solve this problem from the outside? Or, you know, maybe they...
Yeah, now that it's been like 25 years too, like have they given up on it? Kind of. It's like it's gone. It's like lost.
I'm sure there are some people in the rest of the world who are still passionate about like figuring out what the hell's going on with Ireland. But the majority of people, like, I think they're just like, well, don't know what's happening there, so.
Yeah, Piano Freak 9 says you could apparate, but you can't apparate without a wand. So they couldn't apparate. You need to have a wand. Oh, Diana C says, what about Selena surviving the call? And I feel like Selena like uses, I mean, knives and stuff, and she, I don't know. I just,
yeah, well too.
I don't know.
Maybe after book 3, with her additional training.
Would she have her magic? Oh, nothing.
I knew you were gonna spoil. Anyways, next question. Arendelle could survive the call.
You know, he'd have a chance, but I feel like he would.
The thing is, a lot of these characters, like,
would he have his like? Would they have like marks on them? It depends if he's marked up. If it's like in a fight and he's marked up, he might have a chance.
yeah.
What about the invisibility mark? Would it work on the city? You know, like, would they not be able to see him? What the hell is the invisibility mark called? It's not an invisibility mark. Cloaking, illusion. Oh my God, this is gonna bother the heck out of me.
I don't remember it. I don't know, like, any of the marks' names. Like
Christine, you're the one who went to Shadowhunter Academy, and you can't even remember it.
Oh God, I've read a lot of books in between Shadowhunters. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I'll remember. It'll hit me, and I'll be so mad.
Somebody asked, what do you think?
My God, sorry. It just hit me. I could wait. Emma CTRN. I'm sorry. She said I wear contacts, and if my contacts didn't come with me, I would immediately die. And yeah, I'd be blind there. What the heck?
That's so not fair.
That's not fair. And that's just like you have it kind of like a handicap too. Like you're blind.
Well, you would probably train without your contacts, so like.
Oh my God! But everything would be so blurry.
So hard.
Wow. Yeah.
I would die.
Good thing I got 20/20 vision.
I could fashion myself. I guess, you know, probably everyone in that world would need to get like the LASIK surgery.
But that's if Ireland has that technology when they're cut off.
True.
Oh.
And like who can operate it and maintain the equipment.
Yeah.
Like,
oh my God.
But you know, Jesse, for us with 20/20 vision, it just means we will see clearly our impending death. Like we're still gonna die.
We're still gonna die.
Maybe I could train to fashion myself glasses.
Good luck with that.
Oh my God. I'm like legit terrified right now of like that idea. Like,
We're gonna have to face the call, or let's hope we never have to face it.
we're in our 20s, so
Yeah, we're in the 20s, we're good.
We're
Unless
fine.
they somehow like expand it to like later.
that just stressed me out to no end. Let's see. What about a supernatural person like Edward Cullen? Edward Cullen could possibly survive. I wonder, like, because he's so fast. He could run so fast and he never gets tired.
Yeah.
And it's only 24 hours. Nothing can kill a Cullen. Like, nothing can kill a Stephanie Meyer vampire except for fire.
Unless he, like, accidentally ran into, which he has, like, super vampire senses, so he'd be able to, like, avoid people, right?
Yeah. Yeah, he's just good at everything.
He'd probably survive.
Edward would survive. I bet Emmett would survive. All of them would survive. Like,
any Meyer vampire would survive.
Like, the only vampire that might not is Bella because she might do something dumb. But, like everyone else is smart enough to survive. Bella, like, attracts death situations.
This is kind of a mean question, but if you had the ability to call anybody, who would you call?
Oh my God, no one. No one deserves
I would call a villain. Like Baldy.
Hitler.
Hitler.
Sabrina Reader, just a gif of Michael Scott.
Oh my gosh, this guy.
Me too. I'm just imagining this in the gray world. Just like, do you think Juliet from Shatter Me would survive? Well, that's interesting. Like, would the city die every time they touched her, or would she get in pain every time they touched her?
I don't know.
Yeah. That's a conundrum.
Yeah. The thing is, it's weird trying to think of like these supernatural people in this world because this world is like so grounded and feels so real.
Yeah, it feels so horrifying, like it could happen. Like,
especially because the fantasy elements are like based in folklore and yeah, I don't know, it's a very like grounded book. So adding something like supernatural, like death touch, feels like it's a very weird juxtaposition.
Yeah, because like even the abilities they get from the city feel like more grounded than like Juliet and her abilities. Like it's weird. It's scary. Stop.
Stop it.
Stop. It's like, it's a legitimate horror film. Like these images are nothing but a horror film.
Yeah. Like if and people watching this have all read the book or you've spoiled yourself terribly, but Halloween read right here.
Yeah.
Highly recommend.
It's like much darker than any Halloween that I've ever imagined.
Probably, this is definitely one of the darkest and scariest books I've ever read.
Same. Yeah, it was so dark. And like you really don't realize it till you start thinking about it because like our brain doesn't conjure up images as disgusting as I'm sure this looks.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Like,
like when you put yourself in the situation where you're like, okay.
Yeah. It's horrifying. Oh my God, we're like at time.
Yeah.
Wow, that went really fast. Well,
even though it's like a short book, like there's a lot to discuss because it's so like
it's so interesting.
Yeah.
I think let's talk about our next month book of the month.
Oh yeah.
Is Thor's Hammer, the Hammer of Thor. Which one is it?
The Hammer of Thor.
The Hammer of Thor, the second book in the Magnus Chase series. Very exciting.
This is my dust jacket because I'm currently reading the book.
Jesse, have you read the first book yet?
No. I'm going to finish Percy Jackson before I do it. So.
Okay, you don't really have to, just so you
I don't have to, but like, I need to finish that dang series. So
yeah. We have a few days before the book comes out, so
Yeah, we got time.
We're good.
We don't have a date for our live show yet, do we?
We don't, but I think we should wait on that a little bit just so we have like a solid idea of October first. But this has been fun. Thank you guys so much for joining us and asking us questions.
A great live show.
It was a great live show, and there's more information. Like if you want our list of upcoming books, it is in the description below. And yeah, we're Booksplosion. I'm Christine.
I'm Jesse.
And I'm